Commonly, plants have organisms like dogs, cats, aliens, and sometimes in rare cases, humans. But this planet, my planet, has plants. Bright pink lotus flowers as far as the eye can see. Lotus flowers that were as big as people. However, there was one flower that stood out from the rest. A mysteriously different shaped flower. It looked like a lotus flower, but it also looked like a lily? Oh, wait! Hey, that's me! Oh, oops, sorry. I'll continue the story. All the other lotus flowers were big, wide, and massively tall. They glowed brighter and were oozing with energy. But unlike them, Misty's flower was small, a bit less durable, half as tall as the other flowers, and its bright glow was throbbing in and out as if it was dying. Every flower on this planet has a peculiar way of communicating with each other, and that's through the roots weaved into the planet's soil. This method allows it to talk to any plant-like substance on the planet. But doing so made Misty realize she was the only defective flower on the planet. On this planet, there are tons and tons of lotus flowers, just like the ones surrounding Misty. In fact, the entire planet is covered in lotus flowers. That's what gives the planet its bright shade of pink. However, it's not all just plants. There's also an extremely large skyscraper-esque entity that sits among the flowers and protects them. That entity, we call her Mom. Yep, Mom is a giant tree. What? Were you expecting something else? Anyway, Mom was a caring, loving being. She constantly ensured all her flowers were okay and everyone had something to eat every cycle. She was strong and would stop falling rocks from hurting us with her fast branches. Unfortunately, there are some flowers that Mom couldn't protect with her branches because they were simply too far. But each time a flower got crushed, a new flower was born. Well, the new flowers are born from the falling leaves that fly off of Mom. These leaves act like seeds. Each leaf that lands on the surface slowly, throughout many cycles, transforms into big, giant lotus flowers. The ones you saw earlier. Mom tells Misty that one day she will grow big and strong just like her and have her own set of flower children to care for. Misty and her mom would talk a lot about Misty's future, as if Misty was the favorite of the bunch. Misty would always bother her mom with worries of never becoming like her siblings that surround her. But Mom would constantly reassure her that it doesn't matter how she looked as a pod. She would be as big, if not more so, than her siblings. She would call Misty an extraordinary flower, and it would always make her happy. However, Misty soon realizes her happiness is not forever. One cycle, the flower felt a disturbance in the air, something unsettling. Usually, there would be leaves falling constantly, energy screaming from Mom, and the wind blowing between our petals. For some reason, everything felt still, quiet, like a calm before the storm. But Misty and her siblings, as flowers, would never imagine that there would be a world-ending storm in their perfect paradise. The ground begins to shake violently, and the wind suddenly picks up speed. Mom's petals start to turn a darker color with all the lotus flowers around Misty begin to lose their glow. Eventually, crack! The ground starts to split more and more as the skies turn dark. Each ground part breaks up into different segments for each flower attached. Then, due to its sheer force of splitting apart, the planet breaks off into several pieces, and disperses very quickly throughout space. Each piece had one or two flowers attached to each rock, and each rock was repelled in different directions throughout space by the force of the planet breaking apart. My rock only had me attached to it, and the only thing left floating in space was Mom, a colossal sized tree, slowly withering away. Each flower flies in different directions and is attached to the rocks by its roots. Misty and her siblings scream out to her mom, but it cannot be heard because they do not have intertwining roots anymore. Although Misty and her siblings' screams may not have been heard by each other anymore, it still felt like they could hear each other. And as their separation from their mother grew bigger, their screams got louder, even in the immense vacuum of space. It felt like even the gods themselves were crying. The screams begin to quiet as Misty realizes that screaming even as loud as she can won't do anything, as she no longer can see her family. The screams she imagined hearing from them suddenly go radio silent. The family that once surrounded her no longer does. All that surrounds her is darkness. As Misty begins to fade into the darkness of space, her sight begins to fade, and she closes her eyes, eventually resting, accepting her fate of what's to come.
So, then what?
Oh, I, well, I, uh,
Wait, hold up. So I'm a little confused. How are you here? If a meteor was flinging you all around, wouldn't it have killed you? I know you're not human, right? But you're also not invincible. Also, don't meteors or comets, burn into like big balls of fire? So it's kind of hard to believe, like, a flower, of all things, survived being turned into like a raging fireball. Fire? Flowers. They work well in Mario, a video game. But that's not really a thing, you know?
whoa, wait, Fallen, I haven't even finished the story yet. Though you're right. I never questioned how I survived flying through space the way I did. And to be honest, I don't have a clear answer for you. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm. You know, your story? It's a bit goofy. Not gonna lie to you. But hey, I believe you. So don't think too hard on it, okay?
All right. I thank you.
Attention! The chamber is now fully operational. Attention! The chamber is now fully operational. Attention! The chamber is now fully operational. Attention! The chamber is now fully operational.
Hmm. Well, that's my cue. I guess we'll continue this talk later.
I guess so.
By the way, I was gonna bring this up, but you look a little different. Is
Oh,
it the hair? Oh,
uh,
alright, I gotta go. I'll catch you later, okay?
okay. See you later, Fallen.
Bye.